Alright everyone, welcome back. Westside Fantasy Premier Update Show, week number 11. We've got, 3 more games until our playoffs start, so it's coming right down to the wires. Taking a look at picks from last week, I went 3-3 over here. Did better than Miles, who went 2-4, but 3-3. I now stand 21-14-1 on the year. Again, thanks to Miles, that one tie. Stand 583 on the year. Not too bad. That's a solid D average right there. Let's take a look at, before we get into it, let's talk about Thursday night game. We got Miami versus Buffalo on the Thursday night game. And on buys this week, Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, New York Football Giants, and the Seattle Seahawks. Taking a look at our league. No big surprises this week, although I shouldn't say that. Big surprises this week. Let's rephrase that. Big surprises this week. We've got some winning streaks going on. You know, Rough the Passer, who I discounted a week or two ago, who took umbrage to my discounting of his chances of winning, has now clawed his way back into 8th place, powered by a 3-game winning streak. And smell this. Counted myself out. Clawed my way back to 6th place. I'm in the playoffs as of today with a 2-game winning streak. So that's our big news of the day, or big news of the week. Taking a look at the head-to-head matchup, my big win over Passing Fancies this week, 147-91. This one knocked Jim out of playoff contention and put me in. 48.2 from Philip Rivers. Finally made the right start between Rivers and Manley. Finally. Reggie Wayne, 9, but A.J. Green, 14.5, Andre Brown, 15.4, but Calvin Johnson comes through for me at 24.7. For Jim, 32.8, 13.9 for Demarius Thomas, Malcolm Floyd, 12.3. Taking a look at the optimal scores, best Jim could have done was 117. Best I could have done is what I did, 147, which is called managing to peak efficiencies. That's what it's called right there. The One Who Knocks versus AutoSmacked, our 2 number 1 teams, our 2 division leaders, as it were, was won decidedly, almost by 20 points, by the One Who Knocks, who now moves to 6-3. 7-3. AutoSmacked drops to 7-3 with 139. For Phil's, the One Who Knocks, Phil Stafford with 50 points, followed up by Tony Gonzalez, who I'm not going to play next year, says 24.2, 17.5 from Frank Gore. For AutoSmack, Guy gets 57.3 out of Matty Ice, 18 out of Torrey Smith, 17 out of Arian Foster, 12 out of that Bears defense. Looking at Ghetto Superstar versus Los Inodoros, what a tough week for Miles. 79.8 to 112, loser to Los Inodoros. Alex Smith gets knocked out of the game with concussions. So many concussions this week, man. So many concussions. 13.7 for Alex Smith before he gets knocked out. Fred Jackson also knocked out. 21.5 and Michael Crabtree 13 in a losing cause for the Superstar. Looking at Los Inodoros, Drew Brees 45.7. Owen Daniels, game time decision. Didn't go your way, Matt. But so you got 0 points out of him, 15 out of Blair Walsh, and 19 out of your defense to lead the winning effort. Ferocious Fennec versus Rough the Passer. This is a game that had to go down to the last minute, but Rough the Passer held on for the 4-point win, 132.6 to 128.7 over the Fennec. Peyton Manning gets 34.5 for Rob, 18.7 for Steven Jackson, 10.4 for Marcel Reese, and Sidney Rice pulls up 17.4. Andrew Luck is 31.8 for Jake, 19.1 for Marshawn Lynch, 16.5 for Cecil Shorts, and 23 for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. In the brother-in-law battle, Bruddah IZ loses this go-round to beat down 123 to 117. Tony Romo 32.8, Jeremy Macklin 15, and Ray Rice for the losing Bruddah IZ. John starts Percy Harvin, who was injured and is on bye this week. So John was one arm tied behind his back. Josh Freeman 33.4. I think he got a concussion too, if I'm not mistaken. At least everybody did. Darius Hayward Bay 13.8. Matt Forte 3.6. Nothing for Forte, but Jimmy Graham 26.6 out of a tight end. Who knew? And in our final game, the OG Ollier Rogers almost double up the dark side, 150 to 88.9. Carson Palmer with 44.8 for Ollier Rogers. Vasanth Shianko, even though he was activated, got no looks, 0 points, but 10.2 from Danny Amendola, good pick there. Chris Johnson, 19.4, 19.4 from Golden Tate for Tommy. For Mike Kwan, 35.6 for Tom Brady, 25.6 from Adrian Peterson, and in single digits, low to mid single digits for everybody else for the dark side, adding up to 88.9. Taking a look at our standings. In order, 1 through 6, with the records as of today, here's where we are. AutoSmacked leads the league at 7-3, followed by the One Who Knocks, also at 7-3. The difference there between those two teams is about 96 points. 14-14 scored by Guy Petty, 13-19 scored by Phil Flores. So there's your difference between your 1 and 2 team. Your number 3 team is Ghetto Superstar, 6-3-1. The number 4 team is the Beatdown at 5-5. Number 5 team is the Bruddah IZ at 5-5, and Smell This at 5-5 is your number 6 team. Taking a look, so you got 12-10 for Bruddah IZ, 11-48 for Smell This, and 12-14 for the Beatdown. So that's your separation between your 3rd, 4th, 5th, 3rd through 6th teams. Looking at, outside looking in, OG Ollier Rogers, 5-5 is the number 7 team. Number 8 team is Rough the Passer with his 3-game winning streak of 4-5-1. All right, looking at week number 11 matchups. Smell This gets Bruddah IZ. Bruddah IZ is usually a worthy opponent. Now, in bye weeks, I got Andre Brown. Other than that, I'm in pretty good shape. I'm projecting at 116. Mike Hutchinson has nobody on bye, projected at 123. Key matchups for Phillip Rivers versus Denver. And that's got to be the start because my other quarterback's Eli, who's on bye. Reggie Wayne against New England. A.J. Green against Kansas City. Pierre Thomas against Oakland. For the Bruddah, Tony Romo against Cleveland. Julio Jones against Arizona. Jeremy Maclin against Washington. Ray Rice against Pittsburgh. Because I roll that way and because I need the big mo, I'm going to give the pick to the Smell This. Ferocious Fennec versus Passing Fancy. This is father versus son. Right now, Jim needs to cover up for Ahmad Bradshaw, Lawrence Tynes, and that New York Football Giants defense. 94.5 for Jim. Jake, on the other hand, has holes also from Seattle and New York. Hakeem Nicks and Marshawn Lynch, most notably. 95.4. I believe Ferocious Fennec's going to win. Now, the reason I say this is because Ferocious Fennec's outside of the playoff structure. Well, actually, both are outside of the playoff structure, but Jim has a higher ranking, so I'm going to give the mojo to young master Jacob McCarthy. One Who Knocks versus OG Ollier Rogers, 7-3 versus 5-5, 129 to 117 in favor of the One Who Knocks. Phil's got a complete lineup. Matthew Stafford against Green Bay. Sorry to hear that. Deshaun Jackson against Washington. Miles Austin against Cleveland. Sean McCoy against Washington. Robert Griffin III is back against Philadelphia. Philadelphia is horrible this year. Danny Amendola, Larry Fitzgerald, and Ben Jarvis Green Ellis. Amendola against New Jersey, or excuse me, I keep saying New Jersey. New York Jets. They're kind of spotty. Larry Fitzgerald against Atlanta, tough defense. Ben Jarvis Green Ellis against KC. He should go hog wild. On paper, it looks to be 129-117 in favor of the One Who Knocks. I'm going to go with the line and give it to the One Who Knocks. AutoSmacked versus Rough the Passer. This year, overall number 1 team is 7-3 versus the streaking Rob Feinstein. Nobody's on bye this week. This looks to be a tough, high-scoring matchup. Matt Ryan for Guy. Matt Ryan against Arizona. Torrey Smith against Pittsburgh. Ryan Matthews against Denver. Arian Foster against Jacksonville. For Rob Feinstein, Peyton Manning against San Diego. Dwayne Bowe against Cincinnati. Brandon Lloyd against Indy. And Doug Martin, who's going to get Rookie of the Year, I guarantee it, is up against Carolina. Right now, it's 142 to 136 in favor of Rough the Passer. I say the streak continues, moves to 4-0, or 4 in a row, and probably surpasses me in the playoff hunt. Ghetto Superstar versus the Dark Side, 6-3-1 versus 4-6. Both teams look to be in good shape relative to the bye. It's 130 to 125 on paper. Key matchups: Aaron Rodgers against Detroit for Miles, Brandon Marshall, San Francisco, Jamal Charles against Cincinnati, and Lerod Steffens Howling. Sounds like he writes children's books against Atlanta. On the Dark Side, Tom Brady against Indy, Aaron Decker against San Diego, Wes Welker against Indy. Little dub 1-2 right there. Reggie Bush against Buffalo. I got to tell you, and in all honesty, I'm giving it to Miles. 6-3-1. I think he's got a little bit stronger lineup relative to his matchups. And in our game of the week, for no other reason, it's the last one that I'm going to prognosticate against. Los Inodoros, 4-6, takes on the beatdown at 5-5. John's got a couple of holes with Percy Harvin and Minnesota defense. Projected to score 96 right now, but John will cover. Drew Brees against Oakland, Vincent Jackson, Carolina, Jordy Nelson against Detroit, Wilson McGahee against San Diego. Even with covering, I'm not in love with John's quarterback. He's got Josh Freeman and Michael Vick. Vick definitely got his bell rung. I think Freeman got his bell rung too. I'm going to give the pick to Los Inodoros. All right, that's it, everyone. So, one more time. Thursday night game is Miami versus Buffalo. Bye weeks are Tennessee Titans, Minnesota Vikings, New York Football Giants, and your Seattle Seahawks. Get your lineup set. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. So long.